Good evening and welcome to another show of the F1 Stop show. I'm your host Sam Oney and this is episode 9. With me is Wes Spearman. Wes, how are you this evening?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Interesting Grand Prix at the weekend, I suppose. Some more entertainment than we're perhaps used to from from Monaco, certainly in the last few years. But I think, yeah, for Monaco, it was actually a decent-ish race. But yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Um, so let's get right into it then. So we had the Monaco Grand Prix on Sunday and as usual, Max Verstappen, well, came home in first place. I don't think I'm going to get tired of saying that this season. I wonder how many times I will say that this season until we have another winner
A lot
on the
of
top.
times, like 15 times probably.
So then, right, Monaco. What did you enjoy from it? What can you tell us?
Um, I mean, the most enjoyable of it was probably all the chaos in the end of the last sort of 20 laps when it started raining. It was roundabout. It was sort of like lap 50-ish when it started raining. I think Russell was the first one to say, "Oh, it started raining in turn three or something." So just sort of, I can't remember which corner it is, Casino or something like that. One of those, probably Beauregard, I think, is where it sort of first started on the track. Then it was only a couple of laps later, or a few laps later, that the first drivers started pitting for Inters. And then it really was the second sector, I think, where it was the wettest. So I remember I think quite a few drivers struggled with the hairpin. I think Stroll was pretty much playing bumper cars going around that and into the right hander down the hill as well. I think Sargent went off into the barriers at the hairpin as well. I can't remember. Sainz had a collision with Leclerc going to, is it Portier, the one before the tunnel? Um, Certainly that bit of the track was certainly the wet. I know Russell went off around there as well. Um, yeah, the rain, as it so often does in Formula One, it just spices things up a bit.
It does.
Unfortunately, if it was on any other track, then maybe we would have seen some more overtaking. But because it's Monaco, everyone was just crashing into each other.
And as you know, the the cars are, very wide and, barriers and everything, so it's very hard to overtake. Um, so yeah, I mean, just to name a few drivers that had collisions, Signs hitting the back of I think Leclerc or something like that,
I
and he
think so.
had
Yeah,
damage to his front wing. Perez, well, Perez.
Perez was playing bumper cars as well.
Um,
I think he,
but
I think
yeah,
he hits. Yeah, I think Perez hit Stroll. I think at the Nouvelle chicane, and then I can't remember if it was a Williams or an Alpine. Again at the Nouvelle chicane as well, and not a great weekend overall for Perez, was it? I think did he crash out in qualifying? Obviously started last, finished like P17 or something in the end as well. Was with a few, I think just one DNF actually. Oh no, two DNFs. Perez finished 16th. Not ideal, especially when his teammate stuck it on pole and led every lap of the race. Won the race. Did he get fastest lap as well? I don't think so. No, Hamilton got fastest lap. Yeah, bit of a shocking weekend for Perez, but still, as you say, another Verstappen win.
indeed. And coming into the weekend for Monaco, all eyes were on Fernando Alonso, if you like, looking for win number 33, but it just wasn't to be. And some you could say that his pit stop during the rain maybe cost him a potential win.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it was a bold call, I think. I can't remember which tires he started on the hards. I think then switched to the mediums. Around about what lap was it? I've got it in my race notes somewhere. Well, there's a lot of gaps. It goes lap 1, lap 11, lap 32, 33, 35, then then to 51 is my lap notes. It was around about sort of that around about that 50, I think. He pitted for the mediums, and then actually about 5, 6, 7 minutes later, the rain started coming, and everyone was pitting to inters, including Alonso himself, on lap 56. So yeah, not the best strategy call from Aston Martin. Not the best for Ferrari either, mind you, talking of strategy. They stayed out a bit late and had to double stack Leclerc and Sainz right when they were both struggling again in that second sector, as I mentioned earlier. Everyone was just sliding around all over the place. Yeah, I mean, Alonso, he had pole. I think he was on provisional pole for quite some time in qualifying, and then Verstappen with the last lap of Q3 somehow found 3/10 of a second in pretty much just in Rascasse itself. Just that one corner, he found 3/10 of a second and managed to pip Alonso to pole by really not a lot of time at all. Verstappen pole with a 1:11.365. Alonso second with a 1:11.449. So what's that, 0.8 of a second, 0.08 of a second, sorry, roughly. So yeah, if it wasn't for that just elite final sector from Verstappen in Q3, then we would have seen Alonso on pole and quite probably an Alonso win in Monaco. But yeah, as you say, unfortunately not to be. And yeah, the pit stop probably made a difference in the end, I think, if he hadn't, because that would have saved him, what, 20 odd seconds, not taking that pit stop for mediums. But I suppose at the end of the day, I think Verstappen won by about 28, 29 seconds anyway. So it still would have been close. But I think if anything made a difference, it was Verstappen's quali lap rather than Alonso's pit stop. But it's, yeah, just a bit of a shame that Alonso didn't end up on that top step.
Well, Alonso's got another opportunity this weekend to, you know, get a race win this season. And where better to do it than your home race in Spain? That's right, the Spanish Grand Prix. But shortly before we touch on that, Monaco, how would you rate the race after given everything that's happened? Lots of collisions, and Esteban Ocon of Alpine, the first Frenchman since I've forgotten
Olivier
his name.
Panis.
Olivier
Olivier
Panis,
Panis,
that's right.
1996, when he won it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Feligier, French driver, French team in what is essentially a French city. You know, Monaco's its own country, but it's pretty much French anyway. But yeah, hats off to Alonso Ocon.
Ocon.
Stick it at P3 on pole, quicker than both Mercedes, quicker than both Ferraris. Insane effort from him, and yeah, I'm really glad he got that podium, because the Ferraris were close to the podium at one stage, roundabout in the pit stops, but then obviously Ferrari pitted slightly too late, and yeah, Ocon managed to keep third place. Yeah, that's often.
So how would you rate the race out of 10 then in Monaco?
I think it's one of the better ones than we've seen in the last sort of 3-4 years. Still wasn't fantastic. I don't remember seeing many overtakes, if any, on the highlights. I'll probably give it. I don't think I can stretch to a 5. I'm going to give it a 4. Because yeah, there was the chaos at the end, which was fun overall, but I want to see overtaking. I want to see someone outbreak someone into Sandoval or somewhere.
Mm,
And Hulkenberg tried to do that, but smashed into Sargent at Mirabeau on the opening lap, and Sargent wasn't too happy with that. Yeah, it's just the cars are too wide for Monaco nowadays. Take it back to 5-6 years ago when they were narrower and lighter as well.
yeah,
There was, I think it was Verstappen in, I want to say 2015, I think in his first year of F1. Can't remember, racing for Toro Rosso, and I can't remember who it was against, but just outbroke someone into Sandoval down the inside. It was an absolutely fantastic move. It's on the F1 YouTube channel. Someone like top 10 overtakes of the season or something from years ago. But I want to see more of that rather than cars struggling to get to go too wide into corners at Monaco. But yeah, pleasantly surprised, but still not great overall for me. Monaco, 4 out of 10.
yeah. I couldn't agree more with that. I mean, when I think of Monaco rating wise, I just the first thing that comes to me is just the hairpin. That's it. Just the struggle to get around the hairpin, and of course the cars are too wide. You've got barriers everywhere, and it's not easy to overtake. Unlike Formula E, but that's another sporting discipline. But yeah, 4 out of 10 for me, and well, that's the end of Monaco until next year. So yeah, so from Monaco down to, so we've left Monaco. We go what? So three less than 300 kilometers, if you like, southwest of Europe, and now we're at Spain. I hope my geography was right because I don't know.
Roughly right, I think. Yeah, it's definitely southwest. It might be more than 300. I don't know actually. It's certainly not far
No,
to
it's
go
not
from
far.
Monaco to Barcelona, especially northeast Spain as well, which helps cuts down on the miles rather than going to Madrid or Andalusia or somewhere.
Mm. Anyway, I just tried to get some geographical knowledge into F1. But yeah, and we've arrived in Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix this weekend. Now, as you know, Barcelona, Catalonia, the home of F1 testing, but here it's also the birthplace of Max Verstappen, 2016, and the rest is history.
Yeah, you had me confused for a second there. I was like,
Sorry.
birthplace Max Verstappen, what? And then you said Barcelona 26. Yeah, of course. How could I forget?
Yeah, that's right. Gosh, so
That's a
what are we
long
now?
time ago now, isn't it? That's
So
7 years
yeah,
ago.
gosh.
And Verstappen's still like 24, 25.
Wow, that it never ceases to amaze me. And you know what? You know what the most ironic thing is? His contract expires 2028. He would have been in what F1 what 10 10 years?
When did he start racing? I think he started in 2015. Um,
Yeah,
if he goes
he
to
was what
28, then
18.
that's what that'll be his 15th year in F1 2028, which is just staggering, isn't it?
That's
I mean,
staggering.
even in 5 years time, it'd only be late 20s, early 30. Can't remember how old he is now. But even then, I mean, if he keeps racing until say how old Alonso is now, 40, or Raikkonen was 42, that's another an extra 10 years on that. So we could be racing in F1 for 25 years, which is just ridiculous. It's
It
maddening.
really is. That's really ridiculous. Anyway, the Spanish Grand Prix, as mentioned before, is the home of testing, but also, well, Max Verstappen got his first F1 win on that track in 2016. And fast forward, what, 7 years later, we're back in Spain again. Well, what are you expecting from Spain, or what can you recall from past Spanish Grand Prix?
I think typically the Spanish Grand Prix hasn't been one of the most exciting races on the calendar. Obviously, as you say, 2016 is perhaps the most memorable of recent times. Obviously, with Hamilton and Rosberg knocking each other out at the
Yeah,
second corner,
first. Oh, yes.
Verstappen winning the race. 2021, when you had the strategy battle between Hamilton and Verstappen on the one stop, Hamilton on the two stop, overtaking him in the dielapse of the race. Can't remember much from last year. Leclerc got pole, led the race for the first few laps, but overall, again, it was pretty much the Max Verstappen show. Led probably about half the race in the end, I think. Yeah, I don't really remember much from last year, if I'm honest. Just looking at the standings, the classification of last year's Spanish Grand Prix, Red Bull 1-2 with Verstappen and Perez, Russell third, Sainz fourth, Hamilton fifth, Bottas sixth in the Alfa Romeo, Ocon seventh, Norris eighth, Alonso ninth, and Tsunoda 10th. It's probably not going to be that this year, let's be honest. I'd love Alonso or Sainz for that matter, one of those two to be on the top step. More so Alonso, just for the story of it all. I think obviously Aston
Yeah.
Martin not typically a top team. Yeah, to make it, will it be 6 out of the first 7 races on the podium for Alonso? So you're all finished inside the top 5 or top 4 for every single race so far this season. It would just be a fantastic story if he does get that 33rd race win at his home Grand Prix as well, for Aston Martin. And I hope he does. I don't think he will, but I hope he does.
And well, Carlos Sainz, another Spaniard on the grid. What do you think will be going through his mind coming into his home Grand Prix? And do you think he can get a good weekend in Spain?
Again, I hope so. Ferrari have been quite off the pace this season. They're 4th in the constructors with like 90 points. They're quite a way behind Mercedes, 29 points behind Mercedes. You've got Sainz on 48 points in the driver's standings in 6th place, Leclerc 42 points in 7th. So yeah, it's not been the greatest. Well, it's been a pretty poor showing for them, let's be honest, at the start of the season so far. Yeah, again, I think typically Ferrari have done okay in recent years at Spain, especially with Mercedes not as quick as they have been this year and last year. Ferrari could be in the mix potentially, but I think the Red Bulls are just so quick. I think probably Verstappen or Perez, one of them will win the Grand Prix. But as I said with Alonso, if Sainz can have a good race, if he gets onto that podium, and the atmosphere, if one of those to get on the podium is just going to be fantastic. Yeah, I'd just love to see Ferrari show up and give him a good race challenge for those podium spots. And hopefully, I don't think it's going to happen, but if they can challenge for the race win, and especially Sainz is challenging for the race win, then even better.
I mean, yeah, it would be great to see Alonso and Sainz put on a show. I mean, podium, who knows? So, what are your what are your qualifiers then? What are your top 5 qualifiers, if you like?
I'm going to go. I'll start from the top. I'll go Verstappen pole. I'll go Perez second. I'll go. I want to put Sainz 3, but I don't think he will. I'll go Hamilton 3, Alonso 4, Sainz 5 will be my top 5 for qualifying.
Okay. And just because we're doing qualifiers, let's put in uh, P6 as well. So we're pretty much doing the first 3 rows of the Spanish Grand Prix, if you like. So who's going to qualify 6th then?
I'll go Russell P6.
Okay.
Leclerc, yeah. Leclerc 7 if we want to go. If we want to continue on.
Oh wow, Charles Leclerc. Right then. I think for pole we're gonna have. I think for pole, Fernando Alonso, home race, very good start to the season. I mean, he's finished on the podium in every race so far, and I think he's going to get pole in his home Grand Prix. Whether he's going to win it, we don't know. Second, going to have defending champion Max Verstappen, P2. Third, I'm going to go Perez. Perez for third place. Fourth, Hamilton in the Mercedes. Mercedes haven't been too bad. Could improve, but not too bad. Fifth, George Russell. And seventh, I'm gonna
Stick first.
go.
Don't miss out 6.
Sorry.
You went 5th to 7th.
Oh, fifth to seventh. I'm sorry. So sorry. Uh, Sixth. Sorry. Yeah, 6th place. Let's go Charles Leclerc. And then 7th, if you like, we could put Carlos Sainz. So yeah. So how many safety cars will we have in Spain then? Do you reckon?
Um, I don't know. We didn't have one in Monaco, which surprises me. We had a few yellow flags, but yeah, none in Monaco. I reckon there'll be one. Got a bank
One?
on one happening at some point. Yeah, someone will go off in the gravel, or there'll be a crash. Someone dive bombing at the first corner and
Yeah.
and messing it up or something. Um, Sometime happens, or someone has a tire blowout. Maybe Spain is quite harsh on the tires, so
Mhm.
can we see something like that happening? Hopefully not. Yeah, I reckon one safety car this weekend.
One safety car it is. And final one. Who's you predict for driver today? Who's gonna have a very good race?
Yeah, I don't know. I want to give it to Alonso. I think because if he does have a good drive, I mean, Spanish driver, Spanish Grand Prix, the story of Alonso already this season. I think, yeah, that'll be enough to give him driver of the day. If he does well, if not, then probably Verstappen, probably have a lights to flag victory or something. Um, yeah, I'll go to Alonso driver of the day.
Yeah, same here. Alonso, home race. My pick for pole. I mean, a pole to win would be very very good, very very impressive. Um, but yeah, well, it seems we've come to the end of another episode of the F1 Stop Show podcast. We hope you've enjoyed it, and well, this weekend in Spain, Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso both representing their countries, and well, it's gonna have a hope. It's gonna bring another fun, yet well, let's keep it at fun weekend of racing. I've been your host Sam Oney, and it's a goodbye from me. Bye bye, and it's a goodbye from Wes.
Bye bye.
And we hope you enjoyed the Spanish Grand Prix this weekend.